Chicago, New York, and include Atlanta. Let me tell y'all something. Don't be scared of what's gonna happen. Okay? Just stay at home, be in the house, and don't be in the area that you think is gonna get hit. Because the way how they playing games, they playing it a little too slight.
We still haven't heard much. From.
Yeah. They don't want to do that. You come on the U.S. soil, you're gonna get it. I'm telling you, we ain't not gonna let that happen. Is that I love the United States. I love my state. I love, Atlanta. I love Chicago, and I damn sure do love New York. But all y'all know there looking like y'all just afraid right now. Ain't no need for y'all to be afraid. Ain't no need for y'all to do none of it, because at the end of the day, what y'all gotta understand, what y'all gotta realize is that America is America, and we ain't going down without a fight, and they just get on that. Nope.
Welcome. It's the Leylo Show, and I'm back. I'm kind of off here because I just moved into a new spot, so I got my little setup kind of weird, but I'm gonna get it together. I got to speak a little bit louder now because the mic is a little bit distance from me. So I wonder if I see a sideways or something like that. Would that be better if I do it sideways? Yeah, man, I'm a little comfortable like this doing sideways. All right, so boom. That was Shamar. Speaking on Iranian government, or speaking to the Iranian military, rather, because they tweeted him, from my understanding, I don't know. But I don't know.
The white color, we're looking at colors. That's what they're looking at. And we're looking at them as the different colors. The white color, we're looking at them type of people. My thing is, don't never in your time like be afraid. Okay? Don't be afraid.
Yeah, that's on a young lady's page named Blasted, Blasted. Y'all make sure y'all go like and subscribe her page. I just did it so myself. But welcome to the Leylo Show. Yeah, Sersky. All right. So if y'all don't know, we are currently at war. Currently. So that's what this stream is about. If you check the title, it says Commander Tremp, and that's what we're going to call him. Commander Tremp. You know, I don't want to get, I don't want YouTube to flag me or whatever, you know. This is a serious situation, so, you know, you got to be careful of what you're putting out there, and if you want your streams to go correctly. But like I said before, I'm trying to stream a little bit more, but I got a lot going on, a lot I'm dealing with. Like I said, I just moved into a new spot, and we're going to get it in, though. Let's get started, though. Let's talk about this this U.S. versus Iran war going on. Let's see what's going on right now.
We begin with Iran, where the United States struck 3 sites in an effort to cripple that nation's nuclear program. President Trump last night told the nation that the attacks were successful and warned Iran against reprisal. Holly Williams reports.
Tonight I can report to the world that the strikes were a spectacular military success.
President Trump said the U.S. hit 3 nuclear sites, Natanz, Esfahan and Fordow. Fordow's uranium enrichment facility is buried inside a mountain. The U.S. military used B-2 bombers to deliver 30,000-pound bunker buster bombs, thought to be capable of penetrating 200 feet underground. Iran needs to make peace, said the president, or the US will strike other unspecified targets.
If peace does not come quickly, we will go after those other targets with precision, speed, and skill.
Israel launched its war against Iran, saying it faced an existential threat and claiming that Iran could be just months away from producing a nuclear bomb.
Iran's retaliated, and though most of its missiles have been stopped by Israel's air defense systems, at least 24 have been killed.
Congratulations, President Trump. Your bold decision to target Iran's nuclear facilities with the awesome and righteous might of the United States will change history.
Last week, Iran's supreme leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, said any US military intervention would be met with irreparable harm. Iran had already threatened retaliation against US military bases. American bases are scattered across the Middle East, along with around 40,000 US troops. In 2020, Iran attacked an American military base here in Iraq with ballistic missiles. We were there days later to witness the extensive damage, though no US service members were killed. This morning, Iran again targeted Israel with a barrage of strikes, some smashing into residential areas. We don't know what else a weakened Iran may be capable of.
Yep. So we are currently at war, and it's a lot being said, and I don't want to do a whole lot of talking. I want to let the people who do this professionally do their own talking. I'm not going to speak for them. Get this done right real quick. All right, let's look at this. U.S. Defense Secretary says strikes on Iran nuclear sites were overwhelming success. That's not proper English, but whatever. All right, let's check this out. Let's check this video out. It's only a minute and 30 seconds long.
Well, thank you for joining us this morning. Last night, on President Trump's orders, U.S. Central Command conducted a precision strike in the middle of the night against 3 nuclear facilities in Iran, Fordow, Natanz, and Esfahan, in order to destroy or severely degrade Iran's nuclear program. And as the chairman of the Joint Chiefs will demonstrate, it was an incredible and overwhelming success. The order we received from our commander-in-chief was focused, it was powerful, and it was clear. We devastated the Iranian nuclear program. But it's worth noting the operation did not target Iranian troops or the Iranian people. For the entirety of his time in office, President Trump has consistently stated for over 10 years that Iran must not get a nuclear weapon. Full stop. Thanks to President Trump's bold and visionary leadership and his commitment to peace through strength, Iran's nuclear ambitions have been obliterated. Many presidents have dreamed of delivering the final blow to Iran's nuclear program, and none could until President Trump.
You know what that reminds me of? This, because it's about the nuclear warheads, right? Apparently, it's not a good thing to have nuclear warheads or being built in other countries. Although I do believe, the United States have our own. I don't know. I'm just talking. I ain't in the military, so I don't know. And I do want to say I do agree with. I'm riding with Shamal. I'm riding with Shamal on this one, right? And I'm gonna tell you why. I see a lot of people on social media talking, especially TikTok, talking about how, oh man, they gonna mess us up because of Shamal, whatever. Man, listen, I know a lot of military people, and past and present, You know, I have family that's been in the military. My dad, my uncles, they've all been to war. You know, Afghanistan, Desert Storm. So one thing I can tell you about America's, we're the most powerful country in the world for a reason. We might not be the richest. I don't know if we're the richest or not, but I don't think we're the richest, but we're the most powerful. And that's because we have weapons and technology that no other country has access to or has seen. And that's why we're the most powerful. Like, they can have the most money, but having the most power is you know, it overrides having the most money. You know, that's, I don't want to get too deep in it, but I've spoken to a lot of up in the ranks military officials before all this. And trust me, I don't think no country wants no smoke. That includes Russia. But yeah, anyway. So, according to Wikipedia, on June the 22nd, 2025, the United States Air Force and Navy attacked 3 nuclear facilities in Iran. 3 nuclear facilities, okay? Fordo, Natanz, and Isfahan. I don't know if I'm saying that right. You know, I've been off my dean for a while, so I got to look into that, see if I'm saying that right. But anyway, in Iran, as part of the Iran-Israel war, the Fordo uranium enrichment plant, which is here, seen here. That's the uranium. Where have I heard that from? Black Panther movie? I don't know. And the Naztan nuclear facility. Okay, we got that here. So these places is like deep out there in the deserts and whatnot. So yeah, they probably doing all type of stuff out there. Who knows? It's probably more than nuclear warheads going on. And the Isfahan Nuclear Technology Center, which is here. All this stuff is in the desert. Like, I don't know if that is that a neighborhood there? It looks like it might be a neighborhood or something like that. I don't know. Okay, we're targeted with 14 GBU 57AB MOPs, and that's what this is here. They call it the Bunker Buster. The Bunker Buster. That's a bunker buster. So I'm assuming that goes way deep down in the ground, and it's gonna bust a bunker. So living in a bunker or going for shelter in a bunker is not going to be enough, apparently, for these U.S. made GBU 57AB MOPs, massive ordnance penetrator, 30,000 pounds, 14,000 kg, bunker buster, bombs carried by Northrop B-2 Spirit. Oh yeah, the B-2 bomber. We all know about that one, huh? So these are the ones that carry the bunker busters. These are the ones that carry the bunker busters. I hope y'all can hear me well enough. Let me turn this mic this way, yeah. So these are the ones that carry the bunker busters. Yeah. And then the stealth bombers with separate barrage of Tomahawk missiles. So the stealth bombers. So we'll go to stealth bombers. Let's see, stealth bombers. Stealth bombers. B-2 stealth bomber. Let me see. This is what went over there and bombed them. The B-2 stealth bomber.
these bunker busting bombs and how it sort of like burrows into the ground, these 30,000-pound explosive devices. Could you talk more about how that would work in this sort of situation and what it specifically needs to get to in the ground?
Hey,
some people may say, well,
hold on. Make sure y'all hit that like button, that subscribe button, and that notification button, man. Help me boost these numbers up on my YouTube page. I gotta go deep in this thing, you know what I mean? We at war now, so we finna really get into it. You know what I mean? This gonna be a ride, trust me. And I'm gonna show y'all some safety tips, and it's a lot that I need to show y'all because this may get ugly, and I'll tell you why later. It's not going to be like what happened when, the Twin Towers happened. It's not going to be kind of, listen, hit the like button. Just hit the like button for me. All right, let's go.
Well, wait a minute. The B-2 is a stealth bomber. It goes in where you have very heavy air defenses, where enemy radars would be able to see it. And so, why is it being used in Iran when we know that the Israelis have taken down all of the air defense systems? That's because this MOP, this hard.
Whoa! You see that? You see how
used in Iran when we know that the Israelis have taken down all of the air defense systems. That's because this MOP, this hardened penetrator that can go up to 200 feet below the ground, can only be carried by the B-2. So the B-52 has carried it before, but the weapon system itself is only certified to fly on the B-2. So this is why the B-2s had to go in to use these bunker-busting bombs. So the whole idea is that of the 30,000 pounds, only 5,000 pounds are explosives. Most of it.
So that's what I was trying to tell y'all when it comes to the U.S., we own the patent for this, right? For this B-2 bomber. No other country has this. And so no other country has a bunker buster that can be carried on a B-2 bomber like this. Just so we're clear.
It is a very hardened case because it has to punch through rock and dirt, and it has to push all that force down many layers. It actually has a fuse that can sense going through various layers. And so the idea here is that they've got to collapse those big, massive halls that we've actually seen pictures with because the IAEA has been in there. Collapse these halls and collapse dirt on top of these centrifuges that were enriching uranium to a weapons quality capability. So it's a bomb that was developed originally. Most of the impetus was for the North Korean threat, because remember that the North Koreans also have very deeply buried capabilities in their nuclear sites, and so the U.S. said, well, we think that if we need to use this, that North Korea may be the first place we need to use it. We don't want the Kim regime to be able to continue to develop more nuclear weapons. But then they knew that Fordo was there as well. So really, the only two places in the world where this weapon is appropriate and where the U.S. or any other country would need to use a hardened penetrator would be in North Korea or Iran.
So North Korea and Iran are the only two locations in the world that we would have to use this. I'm telling y'all, we are the most powerful, not the most richest, the most powerful military in the world. We have the most powerful military in the world. And I ain't talking about the most people or soldiers, the most powerful, because we got a lot of stuff where we don't have to use soldiers. Anyway, back to it. A separate barrage tomahawk missiles. Okay, so the tomahawk missiles. Let's look that up. What do those do? Let's look up the tomahawks. Yeah, we don't watch commercials over here.
Cruise missiles are undoubtedly marvels of modern technology, combining cutting-edge guidance systems, powerful engines, and impressive ranges. When compared to the very first missile, which was essentially a glorified firework used in China over 800 years ago, it's clear just how far we've come in terms of sophistication and capability. But it's worth noting that the origins of modern cruise missiles can be traced back to the V-1 flying bomb, used by Germany in the last months of World War II. These missiles, due to their fuel efficiency, provide higher speeds. It is usually a small, fuel-efficient jet engine, such as a turbojet or turbofan. The choice of the engine depends on the required speed, range, and altitude for the specific missile. Turbojet engines are more suitable for supersonic cruise missiles as they provide higher speeds. In contrast, turbofan engines are preferred for subsonic cruise missiles due to their fuel efficiency, maintains mission objectives, fuel efficiency, and range systems, while others may...
I got a music playing in the background. I don't want to hear that. But these are the Tomahawks. I want to see what type of damage it did over there in Iran. Like, I really didn't, look into all of this. I just kind of just saw clips of it. And when I get on, just so you know, when I get on here, I kind of freestyle. Like, I don't have a criteria, to go by. I just kind of wing it. And, what I'm learning as you learn it. I'm seeing it as you see it. All right, let's see what it's
Iran's nuclear enrichment sites, 3 in all, in Isfahan, Fordo, and Natanz. And you mentioned the 6 bunker-busting bombs, Sean, that the president told you about. That means 3 B-2 bombers were involved in the strikes tonight because each...
So 3 B-2 bombers brought in 6, so they had 2... I had a brain fart then. But yeah, they had 2 missiles apiece, the B-2 bombers.
Each B-2 bomber can only carry 2 of those 15-ton bunker-busting bombs. So that means 3 B-2 bombers were involved. And as we heard from Jennifer's reporting, it's likely deception was involved. Everyone woke up this morning to chatter about these 6 B-2 bombers flying west over the Pacific, refueling over Hawaii at about 11 p.m. But it's clear now that those were decoys and that another flight of B-2...
So they had decoys flying over Hawaii. Trump ain't no joke, boy. Trump is not playing with them. Trump is not playing with them, man. He sent decoys. Did you hear that?
Those were decoys, and that over Hawaii at about 11 p.m. But it's chatter about these 6 B-2 bombers flying west over the Pacific, refueling over Hawaii at about 11 p.m. But it's clear now that those were decoys and that another flight of B-2s flew east, likely 3 of them. When you said 6 bunker-busting bombs were dropped, that flight that went east went to the target and annihilated Fordo, as we're hearing, likely destroying Iran's nuclear enrichment program. As you mentioned, for 11 years, President Trump has made clear that Iran will not have a nuclear weapon. That was his red line, and tonight he enforced it. You mentioned the 30 Tomahawks fired from submarines. Of course, an Ohio-class guided missile submarine, the old Ohio-class ballistic missile subs that were converted, Sean, each one carries 154 Tomahawks, so it's likely the strike came from there. Not sure if USS Georgia or Florida is patrolling in the area, but those are converted Ohio-class boats. Of course, attack submarines typically carry Virginia-class, LA-class attack boats carry about a dozen Tomahawk cruise missiles. So it could have been a pair of attack submarines, or most likely one of those converted Ohio-class guided missile submarines that took out that site. What's notable, Sean, is today President Trump had 3 opportunities to address the press. He declined each time. Perhaps a signal, looking back, that something was up. And of course, he always speaks to the press. And also, let's not forget, just a few days ago on Thursday in the White House, Caroline Leavitt at the podium said she had a message from President Trump. She said that a decision on Iran will be made within 2 weeks. And now it is very clear. There's a lot of emphasis on the word within, because we're now just 2 days since that statement. And this unprecedented strike was made against Iran, knocking out Iran's nuclear sites, likely setting back that program for years, decades, or perhaps ever.
So why is it important to not allow these other countries to make nuclear warheads. Why is that important? Well, I mean, the obvious reason, we don't want to blow ourselves up, right? Because if they hit us with a nuclear warhead, we're gonna hit them with a nuclear warhead, and it's gonna destroy a lot of lives and generations, and it's not gonna be good for the world. So let me see, nuclear damage. What can a nuclear damage do? What can nuclear damage do? Nuclear blast.
நியூக் மேப்புங்கிற ஒரு வெப்சைட்ல இந்த நியூக்ளியர் பாம்ஸ் உங்களுடைய ஏரியா சுத்து வட்டாரத்தை என்ன மாதிரி பாதிக்கும் சொல்லி உங்களால சிமுலேட் பண்ணி பார்க்க முடியும். அந்த வகையில் நம்ம சென்னையை டார்கெட்டா வச்சு இதை சிமுலேட் பண்ணி பார்க்கலாம். இது நாகாசாக்கி பாம். ஸோ இது சென்னை சென்ட்ரல் மேல விழுந்துச்சுன்னா அதோடைய எஃபெக்ட் பிளஸ் டேமேஜ்ங்கிறது எக்மோர் வரைக்கும் ரீச் ஆகும்.
Iran has informed the IE.
நியூக் மேப்புங்கிற ஒரு வெப்சைட்ல வைங்க பஸ்பம் ஆயிடுவாங்க. சாம்பல் கூட மிஞ்சாது. 3rd degree burns, மறைமலை நகர், மகாபலிபுரம்.
I want to find something in English. Because I know y'all don't understand, and it's not like I understand it either. But anyway, so a nuclear bomb could ultimately, just like I said, destroy. It's like a nuke. If you ever heard of a nuke, yeah, it could destroy a lot. 2 nuclear bombs can destroy the United States. I know that. 2 big if one hit in D.C. and one hit near California, the United States is over with. That's it. And most of these countries are smaller than the United States, so we don't want the effects of a nuclear bomb to happen in no country, not just the U.S., in no country. But there's another reason that I think, this is my personal opinion, that I think that this is important to us, or should be important to us. And there is a man who allegedly visited Earth many years ago. His name was Valiant Thor. All right. I'm just gonna play a little clip here. About Valiant Thor, who allegedly visited
one of the most overwhelming pieces of evidence in relation to the issue of national security regarding the story of extraterrestrial life is that of an alien known as Valiant Thor. Though many skeptics widely regard the existence of extraterrestrials as being an incredible impossibility, not only is there overwhelming evidence of extraterrestrial life having visited our pale blue planet, but that this life infiltrated the highest levels before finishing his mission and leaving.
So this is allegedly a image of the alleged alien, Valiant Thor. You can look this stuff on YouTube now. This is not, I didn't download this nowhere and just showing it for the first. Like, there's stories all over YouTube about Valiant Thor. And according to these stories, allegedly, there was a war about to happen. No, what they did is they did a test nuke somewhere here in the country a long time ago. If you watch the video, it'll tell you about the situation that happened. This was the nuke that they tested.
Mind control tactic used as Valiant Thor would then go on to manipulate high military personnel that allowed him to pass through high security posts to reach the Pentagon, and then furthermore the White.
But anyway, when Valiant Thor came, this was after they tested the nuke, and allegedly he met with the president and other officials, and they came to an agreement that no more nuking, because this planet not only belongs to us, there are other entities on this planet and in this planet, allegedly. So when those nukes and stuff go off, you're not just damaging the people on the surface of the planet. you're damaging whatever's going on beneath the surface and also in the atmosphere. So yeah. So if you ever get the time, look into this guy Valiant
with
Thor.
irrefutable proof of the location being taken at a high military intelligence official location.
Just go do your research on Valiant Thor. I may do a video on it. I may not. I don't know. But it's all over YouTube. You can Google Valiant Thor. This information was released from the government. So there you have it. Anyway, back to Iran. All right. United States President Donald Trump announced the strikes via Truth Social. Truth Social, if you don't know about Truth Social, that's like Trump's own Twitter. I have the app myself. Truth Social describing it as a very successful attack, although its efficiency had not been confirmed. Congressional Republicans largely supported Trump's action, while most Democrats and some Republicans were concerned about the constitutionality of the move and its impact and response. World reaction was mixed, with some of the world leaders welcoming the move to incapacitate Iran's nuclear program. All right. So the Republicans, for the most part, they was with all the smoke. But the Democrats, of course, they're like, they on some soft shit. Anyway. All right, so let's talk about where this might go.
Haven't heard much from their proxy organizations, the Houthis in Yemen, the Iraqi militias, the Hezbollah in Lebanon. And these are powerful forces that can trigger a war, a regional war. And this is the problem here. So it is possible that there's significant consequences due to this strike. It may again trigger a regional war, which could be absolutely devastating.
Is the world safer now than it was a few hours ago?
I think so, but this is the big but here. This is just, we're only in the initial hours here of this strike, these strikes rather. I think we need to make sure what happened, what was destroyed, if at least verify if these sites were indeed destroyed, because that's important here. Now we hope, I think many of us, especially here in the United States, hope that that the United States that the military was successful here in striking, in obliterating these targets, essentially. But again, we're in the initial hours of this attack. But we're hopeful. I think there's going to be success here.
That's interesting. So just on that, Iran's nuclear energy organization says the country's nuclear development would not be stopped by these attacks on infrastructure and research facilities. So as you say, we really do await, I suppose, confirmation either way. Trump says these sites were completely obliterated. In and of itself, was the ambition of this mission wise?
I think so. I think Iran has demonstrated, not just in the last year or two, but for many years now, through its network of clients in the region, its proxy organizations, namely Hezbollah, for example, in Lebanon, that they have ambitions, malign ambitions, effectively. And if Iran were to have a nuclear weapon or obtain a nuclear weapon or build a nuclear weapon, these organizations, their proxy organizations, their network of clients, and of course Iran, would be acting under this nuclear umbrella. All right. And that's a problem, not only for Israel, of course, but for the United States and allied countries in the region.
In terms of trying to predict what happens next, Joe, once again, just to kind of cite the Iranians, there has been a suggestion from Iran's foreign minister that the events this morning, this is his comments, the events this morning are outrageous and will have everlasting consequences. And actually, if I put alongside that what Netanyahu said, that these will change history, it is somewhat unpredictable, isn't it? We don't know how these things conclude, and that is the risk that President Trump has taken.
Correct. I think this is why it's taken so long for something like this, for kinetic strikes to occur. I mean, listen, we've seen past presidents deal with the Iranians, negotiate with the Iranians. Of course, you have the JCPOA. And there's a lot of fear that a strike against Iran, whether it's Israeli or whether it's the United States or in combination, would trigger a regional war. All right.
A regional war, you mean World War III? That's what you mean, right? Listen. Excuse me. I'm ghetto as hell. I'm sorry. All right, so let's get into some safety measures. Some safety measures for you people. You people meaning Americans. If you're scared, you're concerned. Let's talk about what we call prepping. It's called prepping for survival. Okay? Now, these are tactics and things that you can do, and they're mainly it was mainly created for times like this, where it may be a war that could affect everyone. So we call it prepping. You can go to places like Sam's. Let's look at this one right here. I told you we ain't doing no commercial.
Hey everybody, huge news at Sam's Club. But first, let's go in. Let me show you some of the items I like to pick up every time I come for prepping. So Sam's Club can be a prepper's paradise. I find that there's some items you'd have to at least count the dollars, count the change, because it gets a little bit more on the expensive side. But I always talk about and recommend you buy in bulk. Sam's Club is all about buying in bulk. And by the way, this is about Sam's Club and something really amazing coming up. But I want you to understand that a lot of the stuff I'm going to show you, you can get from other stores too, like Walmart. In fact, Walmart, you can actually have shipped to store for some of this stuff, and you don't even have to have a Sam's Club membership. Whenever we're here, we stock up in lots of these tubs, excellent for storage of all your prepping gear. Oh, look at this. We have a clearance $16.75 for a 2-pack of fire extinguishers.
So let me be clear. Prepping items are items that you would need, like if the grid go down, right? If the grid go down, that means no cell phones, no electricity, and you just have to survive, basically, just like you surviving in the woods. You might be in your house, you might have to run from your house. So these are items that you can use to survive if something like that were to happen. Let me see, items. Let's go a little deeper into prepping. I'm a prepper myself, like I buy items, here and there to stash away. But things, that'll last long, like rice, beans. Okay, here's a good video right here.
Believe it or not, there's new people getting into prepping every single day. They can see the writing on the wall and they realize that they should probably prepare for some sort of an emergency. But a lot of them might be on a budget or not exactly sure where to start, so I figured I would put a list of the bare essentials for each major prepping category together just to give you something to start with. And if you were to get all of these items, you would still be leagues ahead of everybody else in the general population. And that's a big deal because you're basically trying to outpace everybody else's survival. Just gonna say it, trying to be honest here. Now, if you're worried about surviving SHTF scenarios and you're trying to put together a list of things you might need to get started with, then hit the subscribe button below because I try to share ideas like this on this channel on a regular basis. Now, the very first thing we all need, always, all the time, other than air, right, is water. Water is very important, okay? Now, you might not have a ton of water on hand. You might not be able to spend the money you needed to get a lot of water storage, but bare minimum, if you're gonna get something to prep in the sense of having access to clean, potable drinking water, I would suggest getting a Sawyer Mini. The Sawyer Mini is the most affordable water filter that gives you a lot of accessories and things in the sense of little gadgets that it comes with to make everything easier for maintaining the device, but it also filters for hundreds of thousands of gallons.
Cecil Mini is like, a water filter. Let's see what else you got.
Right, so we have water, now we're on to food, and the bare minimum essentials for food, you could go out and buy Mountain House, you could go out and buy all kinds of freeze-dried stuff, but in all reality, get one 20-pound bag of white rice.
Keep your weight up.
And one 20-pound bag of pinto beans. And you've got a lot of food stored away already. And you don't even have to seal them in Mylar and do all the stuff that we do here in the preparedness community. You could throw those.
Pinto beans and rice is a very healthy meal. Has a lot of starch. Keep your weight up, energy up. So you cook it in water, and it's gonna be a meal. Like you know how you used to eat a hot dog and a piece of bread. It's the same concept when you're hungry. So you might have to eat that 3-4 times a day if the grid was to ever go down and we're involved in a world war or whatever. It may be a bad storm that might knock out everything for a while. So it's good to have a good prep package in your basement somewhere, especially all you rich folks, you dudes with money. You're going around buying all this jewelry and cars. I hope y'all got a prep package in your basement, all right?
And the reason why is because having your communications and the ability to use your phone or maybe your computer during an emergency could be very important, especially if you need to reach out to local authorities or make sure your family's okay or whatever it is, right? So you gotta have some backup power. And honestly, the cheapest and easiest thing to do in that regard to just have something in order to extend the amount of power usage you can access during an emergency would be a power bank. Now, this isn't fancy. There's nothing very exciting about it, but it will get your phone charged up a couple more extra times, right? And this is USB rechargeable. I think it's a USB-C, and you can plug it in and you have a lot more time with your phone now during an emergency. And you can also use this to charge things like handheld radios or whatever other devices that might be USB.
Okay, he's being modest. Like, you really need a generator for real, for real. You're gonna need a generator, plenty gas, walkie-talkies.
Walkie-talkies. Now, these are not ham radios. These aren't Baofangs or anything like that. So there's no license required to use these. They only operate under the try to fix.
You also want to get a satellite radio, okay? Because those phones, let me put in prepper satellite radio. You want to get a satellite radio, all right? These are satellite. You've probably seen commercials about them. Crucial for survival, satellite radios. This guy right here got one. Told you we don't do commercials over there.
After disaster, having the ability to stay informed, being able to communicate with both others locally and with those outside of through these here in front of me. The first one is a phone. Now, I start with this one. It's not the cheapest, obviously. I said it's going to go cheapest, so most expensive. But this, I carry on me at all times. I always have a cell phone next to me. And let me just point out, if you try to make a call after a disaster and you're not able to send or receive, phone calls, don't be despair, because you can actually sometimes still text or, of course, access the internet. Now, that's not a given, but make sure that if you can't make a call, that you at least test out texting. And I would encourage you to do this. In your bug out bags, have a piece of paper with all the phone numbers written down. I have in all of our bug out bags in a big Ziploc bag, I've got a piece of paper that have pictures of all our family members. I've got all of the important documents that we need. I've got, like, for example, animal vaccines. And on one of the pages in this document, I have individuals both locally and outside of our area to phone. And the reason I did that is because if for whatever reason, let's say my wife is out with my children, or there's some situation where we get split up, we need to have a contact person that we can all phone into if we can't reach each other. And again, they kind of serve as an operator, so to speak, right? You're calling out to that person outside of the state or locally, but you have that point that everybody knows that they need to be able to contact. And again, we have a whole plan listed on a piece of paper. Think that through if you're, again, setting this communication plan up, especially for your bug out bag. Also, another little pro tip, I would encourage you to add phone numbers actually inside the back of your phone case with emergency numbers to call, very similar to what I talked about just a moment ago. Have those phone numbers written down and preferably laminated and stick it in here. Think about it. If the power goes down and you're using this and you can't charge it for whatever reason, you probably want to have those important phone numbers written down. We all have gotten to the point where let's just be honest, we rely on our phones to carry those phone numbers. I remember about a handful of phone numbers from my childhood that for whatever reason are just, imprinted in my mind, but whenever I have a friend give me their phone number, the first thing I do is just create a contact, I add it in, and it's gone, right? So make sure you put that down, because if your phone, for whatever reason, is not operational, you want that written down. Okay, so the next thing that we're gonna talk about is a small signal mirror. These, you can actually stick this even in the back of your phone case. So obviously they're super small, and they're not that expensive, about $5 or $6. And if you were to get split up or you're lost and there's individuals looking for you, having the ability to make that reflection could be a lifesaver. And there's a set of instructions on the back of this. It's got a small little hole, and it's pretty clear on the instructions what to do. So again, think about this as an option. Again, you could even put that in your phone case. Now the next option is a whistle. And you may think, well, why would I need this for communication? Again, let's think about in terms of our bug out bag or some situation where you get split up from your group. Having that ability to signal for help if you get lost can be very, very important. And again, we keep this in all of our bug out bags, especially our kids, so they know that they have that option. Now, the next option, when I first got serious about prepping, there's a couple of things I got, and this is one of them. This is just a small hand crank emergency radio. It's got FM, AM, it's got NOAA weather radio stations, and it's got a hand crank on the back of it, which I like. I can crank it up, and I can actually charge other small USB chargeable devices, such as our cell phones. And if you notice, I've got different cords on here, and each one of these has different adapters based on the phone. I have an iPhone, so I have an iPhone adapter. My wife has a Samsung, so hers is micro, I forget all the letters. And then we have the old school traditional micro USB.
All right, so back to prepping. You get it. Satellite radios are very important when it comes to disasters, whether they are natural or whatever. I like these little boxes here too, because they sell them at Sam's and other places like that.
This is hands down the best food storage I've ever seen or used. We use this and only this. This is the Ready Hour 3-month food supply. It's 6 buckets. It'll take care of one person for 3 months at 2,000 plus calories per day. This is hands down the best food storage I've ever seen or used.
Okay, 6 buckets will feed one person for 3 months. 6 buckets of this.
Hey everybody, it's Michelle.
Good to
when you're short on storage space, pick the best walls on the inner part of your home, which happens to be one of the closets.
Here are 5 SHTF items that everybody should have in case of emergency. Number 1 is communication. This is a simple ham radio and you should have a plan to use it. Which brings us to item number 2, coordination. You need to know when and where you're going to be connecting and communicating. That's where something like this comes in. It's a simple stainless steel watch made by Smith & Bradley. But when other electronics are down, something like this will keep on ticking. Smith & Bradley even makes an automatic watch, which is batteryless. And item number 3 you're gonna want is some sort of defense. This is a SAR P8S. Something like this is critical when you need to depend on yourself for security. Before we go on to the next items, thank you to Bullet Safe for our body armor and our brand new giveaway, both linked in a pinned comment. The 4th.
Now this you probably seen some stuff like this when people are talking about zombies or whatever. But this is a real thing. Getting prepped for any type of shutdown of the grid here in America or any other country, no matter what country you're from, right? For example, where Trump, Commander Tremp, just bombed, I'm sure the grid is down there now. So this will be a perfect time for those people over there to have, prep items. And I doubt they have them. Not many people, unless they was rich over there or something in some areas. But anyway, yeah, getting prep items should be the first measure of safety for those of you who may be afraid that something may happen on this side. If you're afraid, then start going and getting your prep items. I'm gonna go get some myself. Here's another video. It's called Survival Dispatch. The YouTube page is called Survival Dispatch. So go check that out. They got duct tape on here. They got lighters, stock up on lighters. Matches, though. Matches are good. Matches are always good. All right, get matches, batteries, flashlights, of course, candles, bleach. Definitely need bleach. Get lots of bleach, trash bags. I don't know what he gonna do with those, but tarps, heavy duty tarps. You're gonna need those because you might have to sleep in the woods, so you'll need to build a tent out there. Prepper cabins. You need to learn how to, if you got a man at your house, right? You need to learn how to build a cabin. Build prepper cabin building. Like here's one. It's not a bunker, it's a cabin. I'll turn that music down. But this was built, in the woods. Let me see. See something. Prepper cabin build. Like you could just go on YouTube and you'll find a bunch of these people showing you how to build cabins in the woods just with an axe, some saws, hammer, and the wood from the woods. And you can build your own cabin. If you got a good, strong man in your life, that's what the man's there for. Excuse me. I know women that do it too, so I'm not going to take nothing away from them. But you definitely want to have that skill prepared. And some, of course, you got the rich people that have their bunkers that's prepared for this stuff like this. They have bunkers. Well, actually, he's building this. What is he building it from? But he's using modern equipment like cement, but you may not have access to cement, especially if it happens quick. You might not have it. But like I said, you could just go, look online. Look at this guy right here. He built his own cabin or bunker out of mud. Mud is real good. Mud keeps the bugs out, keeps the rain out. Look, he got his own chimney right there, just made strictly of mud. Underground bunkers. You can build your own, you know what I mean? Have all your prep items in there. So, go look into this stuff if you're afraid. Only if you're afraid. But I think these are skills and items that you would need anyway, just in case, because, what they say, nothing lasts forever. And they say Jesus coming back too, right? So when he comes, you think it's going to be a nice day? No. No, things is going to get shut down. And then learn how to cook too. Learn how to cook outside. Learn how to cook outside. Most men who are grillers who like to grill, they know how to cook outside. So that'll be a good thing. All right? All right. So, yeah, we are officially at war.
This is the green line, I think, huh?
It's right here?
Yeah.
What are your feelings about the Palestinians living just beyond the wall in Tulkarm?
What do I think?
Yeah, what do you think about them?
For us, since the 7th October, we're about the war, yeah? I'm for the war. Try to get as much as we can terror.
Yes, we are at war. We are at war. All right? So just so y'all know, this is just the beginning. The strike from Commander Tremp has begun. They're going to strike back. How, when, we don't know. We don't know if they can get over here. We don't know if they're already over here. They got sleeper cells over here. If you don't know what a sleeper cell is, go look it up. I made a post on TikTok the other day about 60% of the gas stations are owned by Iranians in America. That post went way over people's head. Anyway, they're sleeper cells. They have allies as well. So anything could happen, you know. And when you bomb a country like Iran, let's just say it could get ugly. But with that being said, it's the Leylo Show. Like, comment, subscribe, share, hit the notification button, and I'm gone.